Now listen, we're not here to get involved with engagement farming and talking about bad takes, getting everybody mad and stuff. What I do think is interesting is some of the points that got brought up. Strive Tower is better than a normal rank system, excluding stability problem. Let's have a discussion about this real quick. Scroll up a little. Calm down. You guys all know the Strive Tower system sucks. You're running around in a hotel, you can't find anybody. It's like you swing in your broomstick in the betas. Like, it was bad. If you play people, you randomly get kicked up and down floors, which is really annoying when you're in the middle of a set. The Celestial qualification is like the weird way to get into the highest rank in the game. It should just like do it based on your skill and then like put you there for the month when you're strong enough, because it encourages dodging to qualify the way it is now. You play first to 3 games always, whether it's 2-1 or 3-0 every time, which is like weird for a ranked tower mode thing. And the stability of it, being able to just match and play against people, it's really bad. Now, for comparison's sake, effectively the 2xKO lobby, and by extension, other lobby systems that are similar to this, it's basically the same thing, but extremely functional. You can just have regular queues while you're waiting in the lobby, so you don't have to run around and match people, which is really nice. And you can just sit on a cab and then someone can come up and play you. You can infinite rematch. And I'm assuming their ranked version of this will like, you'll play a set or something. But to me, a lobby version of the way you navigate and play other people is actually not the problem. In fact, I think 2xKO matched me with people faster than playing Street Fighter 6 ranked. On average, you're always in the same lobby and you can have problems where like people interrupt sets or you're infinitely rematching and then somebody gets in the way, or like you want a new opponent, but there's not somebody that you want to play in that specific lobby, so you have to leave and then come back and then whatever. It has cons for sure, and I do obviously enjoy the regular matchmaking experience that Street Fighter 6 has. But that game instantly got you into matches, which I think is a huge deal. Like if you didn't want to engage with the lobby and you just wanted to match with people over and over and over, it was very good at that. You could just find match and never really think about the lobby, or sit on a cabinet and never really think about the lobby and just play. That being said, having just regular ranked matchmaking, I click a button, I find another opponent, is like not a high bar, I think, to ask for. It's just a better way to engage with the game, I think, for most people. This brings me to the next point. The part about lobbies and it being social, and I think why it's important, is in 2xKO, I played Pred. You guys, probably a lot of you know Legendary Pred. We played 2 different long sets in the lobby. And both times we played, we talked after. How did this thing work and how did that work? And I was like, yeah, and also you were doing this to do that. And he's like, yeah. And then also this, like 2 days later, we ran into each other in the lobby again. We played another long set again. And then at the end of it, we talked again. We were like, oh yeah, that was sick. Like you were doing this combo, you did this Ogi, you did this. I couldn't stop this. Because the lobby's there, you have the ability to actually communicate, which I think helps with the social aspect of the game, which is not something you get from just endlessly ranked queuing into the void. Which brings me to my next point. Fighting games are held to a higher and more difficult standard than all other competitive games. Deadlock is a shooter MOBA with literal paragraphs on items and dozens of purchasables with crazy builds gets a pass, but God forbid you add a motion input and 99% of gamers crumble. Now, we've talked about this. This is correct, but for a bunch of reasons. But one of the most common things I saw below this was basically everything else is a team game. You can rely on your teammates and like there's a social aspect and etc. That's actually why I think this point has a little bit of merit. I think it's wrong, but I think there's a little bit of merit. And the thing I was just describing where the lobbies let you communicate and talk to people. As all of you know, if you've ever played a ranked fighting game, I am fighting like a faceless void. Like you don't know the other person you play in ranked. You win or lose and you hate them. You can't stand them. They're not a real human. Every choice they make is like barbaric and stupid and bad. They are my nemesis who I want to kill. And every time they mash on your plus frames, they're like a drooling baboon. And then every time they do something good, you like come up with an excuse for why it was bad. It makes you mad. That doesn't happen, I think, as much in a system like this. Now, on to Cloud's point. We all know this is true. Part of why other games get away with having bad tutorials and all this other stuff is A, they have another person to lean on. But B, they probably have more of a foundation in the genre oftentimes that they can get away with. The way you get into them is not their tutorials. In fact, I don't know if you guys know, I play a lot of TFT. The game doesn't have a tutorial. You boot up Teamfight Tactics and that shit says play. The way you learn it is very simple. You go to YouTube and you type in TFT tutorial. And then you click a video and you watch that shit and you're like, I don't know about any of this. And then you go play it. You do okay or you don't do okay and you die or whatever. And you're like, I don't get what's happening. And that's it. That's like the only way to play the game. It's one of the most popular games on the planet. Deadlock is so fascinating for me me as an example. If you buy items in League of Legends or Dota, there's 6 slots. The shop in Deadlock is not 6 slots. Let me show you this. You open the shop and you see, not even this, you see this. There's some stuff going on here. All right. And then you're like, well, what if I want to buy stuff for my weapon? And what if I want to buy stuff for my vitality? And what if I want to buy stuff for my spirit? Now, you may be like, okay, well, there's only 6 item slots, so surely I just buy the 6 that make sense. There is not 6 item slots. There is 4 item slots per 16 total items. So you can just, you can just start clicking through and buying things. Like, you can buy all these items and I'm still not full on, you know what I mean? I bought the whole shop and I still don't have everything. As you kill objectives in the game, you unlock more item slots. And some of the things you sell, so like you may buy a resto shot in the early game. This is an item for sustain. You're gonna sell this later on. Which of these items should you sell? Question mark. And then on this one, early on, you want to buy things like this, and maybe you want extra stamina, maybe you want a healing right in lane to heal yourself, and then your big pickups are this and Veil Walker. Later, you can upgrade this. If the team has an Abrams, you need a heal bane. You can sell this early on because you don't need this and this. And then you can start to pick up things later on, like maybe Phantom Strike if their team has a Vindicta or something. And then on this early game in lane, you could buy things like this, and this is for sustain, but then perhaps you want ammo scavenger in lane because this is useful. But later on, your core items are these 2 and cold front if the team has a lot of spirit damage that you want. These are upgrades you can pick up later. If you want diviners, I gotta sell something. But you get my point, right? It took me 300 hours to look at this shop and like know what to buy. You just don't know, even if you play a lot of other MOBAs. Somebody's already saying, can't you just look up a build and then buy this one, or do your own, bro, and then just click all the items in someone else's build? You can. But obviously it's not optimal. And people tell me I can't play fighting games without learning quarter circles because it's not optimal to not be doing specials all the time always. Quarter circles are a mechanical skill check that feels bad to not know. All right, let me show you something. I get on the zip line and I want to go to where their tower is over here. And I walk over. This is what it looks like to go get on the zip line and walk over to their tower, right? But did you know in this game that if you roll with shift, it costs 1 stamina and you move faster? So when I get off the zip line, instead of just dropping, I could do this and then I can roll over here as long as I have stamina, right? And I can make it there. But did you also know that while moving, you can roll and then jump? It costs 2 stamina and you get extra mobility. That's pretty important. So I can get on this and then hit space and then land and then roll and then jump. And then roll and then jump, and I can make it here faster, right? That's pretty cool. But did you know about ZMC? Not Zero May Cry, which all of you are gonna answer. But this game has a mechanic that when you get off the zip line, if you hit space, you drop off. But if you get off the zip line with crouch, you keep your momentum. If I'm on the zip line and I hit crouch, I'm here. Not only that, but when you get off the zip line, if you air dash, you're even faster because you keep the momentum during your air dash. Important thing to note though about the air dash is that actually air dashing forward doesn't keep as much momentum as air dashing sideways. So you need to do what's called a diagonal air dash. What you're supposed to do is actually get off the zip line, jump off this, and then go fucking murk the tower like that. And then cloak out, go into your satchel, explode the cloak to do damage, and then teleport back. Now that is a mechanical skill that the game does not teach you, and it's not in any tutorial, and you need to executionally know how to do it. But do you think you can load up Deadlock and play the game without knowing any of this? Like, sure, right? Lash has an ult where if he's moving and he ults, he instantly stops in the air. You see this? But the friction in the air will not go away if you do it from something like this. You don't got what it takes. Yamato has the same thing. This move here, she stops when she does this. You can slide while doing this. Yeah, you need to know how to Kara Lashal or Kara Power Slash. None of this is ever explained to you in the game. You think that you would know intuitively that air dashing forward is worse than air dashing sideways for keeping momentum. If you got off a zipline by jumping versus getting off the zipline by crouching, you have completely different momentums. You're telling me you would know that as someone who doesn't play the game? That would make common sense to you? There's lots of little things about this game that you probably don't know either. Did you know that in this game when you slide, you have infinite ammo? When you kill the minion, you want to be able to hit the thing in the air, right? But if you only have one bullet, like how do you last at a minion that's on 1 life? I have 1 bullet here and I shoot it and then I have no bullets to last at it. You can roll and slide, and then while roll sliding, trade 1 stamina for infinite ammo to last hit. And if your character has an item that makes them faster and your natural move speed is fast enough, you can slide without doing anything. You can bunny hop while doing this as well. So you can like go around a corner and then wall jump, and you keep momentum in this game in that way. All this is to say, like, games are not easy, okay? In fact, tons of people in the chat were like, I've been playing Deadlock for 20, 30, whatever X hours. And I didn't know any of them. There's probably lots of people who are like, Deadlock is easy because I don't have to worry about this build stuff. I just buy a pre-built build. And then they run into a haze on the enemy team who just keeps ulting them over and over. And they're like, this character's broken. There's nothing I can do about her ult. And you're like, oh, if you buy this item, she's like the worst character in the game. And they're like, yeah, well, that item's not in my build. So never heard of it. Every single game you play, you want to play Apex Legends, you watch someone do like a tab strafe into like a wall jump into like a shotgun armor swap, pick up a Kraber 360 no scope a guy. You're like, how do I do any of that? Like, you know, you got to go watch videos about how people do movement tech and then go practice the execution of those movement tech if you want to do any of it. This is the truth of any kind of simplification or the way people talk about fighting games or like what people gets in. Street Fighter 6 is big in Japan because the game is really good and fun, and because lots of people are interested in playing it. It gets other people interested in playing it because everybody's playing it and talking about it. It has good matchmaking. It has content to do outside of just fighting other people online. It's got really useful online things, like online training mode is a really useful feature when you're teaching new players. Modern helps. Yeah, like modern is useful. But you guys saw that we did our slam and like almost nobody played modern. I don't think it's an easy fighting game, and I don't think it's an easy game to like jump in and play. Street Fighter to me has never been the easy fighting game to get into. To be honest, I think versus games, they're a lot more approachable in the sense that you can just kind of mash and have fun and have a good time. And like a game like Tekken, you can just swing at a low level and do the sickest shit you've ever seen in your life, and it's a great time. Soul Calibur has that. Street Fighter is like probably the worst game to mash buttons and have cool things happen. That's one of its weaknesses to like casual appeal, I think, actually. Saratina said, the reason FGC is so starved for new players is not because they're too hard. It's the financial barrier to entry, lack of new player resources, and community's elitism. If people disagree with these reasons, they are lying to you. It's impossible to overstate the financial difference. I want to play a fighting game, it's $60 versus I want to try this game, it's $0. Between buying Street Fighter and Tekken and Guilty Gear and all their season passes, that's like $400 right there. You could go buy the $500 Ari skin in League of Legends and have spent less money on League of Legends than I have on fighting games in the last like 5 years. Dude, 2xKO skins, $5, $10, $15, $20 skins or whatever, people will buy them. And they'll be making fun of you. You know you're gonna go to play with someone, like your friend, you'll be like, oh, let me play this character, and then they'll be like, you don't even have this fucking new skin, like what are you, broke? And you'll be like, yes, and they're like, okay, we're in the dripless queue, like they're gonna be making fun of your ass, and you're gonna be like, well,